Hey, good day and welcome back to Max Nape Horsemanship and Baby Steps. And, well, baby steps times two, because there's more than one now that we're working with. And I want to talk a little bit about some of the training that you're going to be doing and problems you're going to run into, because guaranteed you're going to have problems. And, well, one of the things you're going to have is you're going to have bad days, real bad days. You're going to have days where you swear you're going backwards. And you're going to get frustrated and aggravated and, well, really going to start questioning whether or not you're up to the task. I know, I've done it. There have been days where I've had days that were so darn bad that I seriously questioned myself and wondered what the heck I was doing and why was I playing with horses? I'm no darn good at it. You know, yesterday was good, today is just horrible. Well, it took me a while to figure it out, but that's just the way it goes. And I want to stress this to you, that don't get discouraged when you have a bad day, because I can guarantee you're going to have a bad day. Some days you're going to be going, what the heck am I doing? I'm going backwards, things aren't working, I can't get the horse to do a darn thing for me, on. And you're going to be really discouraged when you go home. It's going to happen, I guarantee it. But you know what? Tomorrow's another day. And, well, I've had it myself where, you know, one day things are mediocre. Well, okay. Next day they were horrible. And I was very frustrated and discouraged. And then the day after that they were fantastic. So just remember, tomorrow's another day. And, you know, it's not necessarily anything you're doing. And I've discovered that is the, I don't know, the mood the horse is in, the weather, I don't know. Make up an excuse, I don't care what you do. It's all right. But guaranteed, you're going to have bad days, you're going to have things you're going to struggle with, I don't care what it is. Every horse is different, every situation is different, and you're going to have good days and bad days. You are going to struggle. Guaranteed. It's going to happen. You're going to struggle. Yeah, really. You're going to have days where you're going to go, what the heck am I doing? I can guarantee it. Don't get discouraged. Tomorrow's another day. And as long as from the beginning to end of session, if there's even the tiniest little bit of improvement, you're making progress. That's all there is to it. And sometimes that's all that matters. And I used to follow another guy, excellent horseman. I learned a few things from him, and that was one of the things he used to stress quite often too. Is as long as from beginning to end of session there has been some improvement, you're making progress, and it doesn't matter how good or bad it starts. Yesterday doesn't matter. It could have ended off really good yesterday, and today is horrible, but that doesn't matter. Forget about yesterday, just worry about today. I've said that before in these videos, is, you know, worry about the horse that's in front of you today. That's what you got to do. And if from beginning to end of the session there's an improvement, even the tiniest little bit, that's a win, guaranteed. Now, one other thing I want to talk about today, before I go get a horse out there, and it's kind of relevant to what we're going to do today, because one of the many things we're going to do is having her side up to the mounting block again. We're going to work on that today too, along with a few other things. But that's one of the reasons I'm standing in front of this trailer, because you see these trailer fenders, nice and big and flat. This one unfortunately has some lights on it, which most don't have, but standing on those, you got a nice big platform to stand on. This one has a handle in the way. Not sure what that's for, but whatever. You still got lots to stand on there. And you can use this as your training platform for getting the horse to side up to a mounting block. This can be your pretend mounting block for now. Doesn't matter. Like I said, you can use a lot of different things, and I'm just showing you this one as an example. You know, you got a nice wide fender to stand on. It's nice and long. You got lots of room. It's actually a great tool. And there's another thing that you can use it for later on when the horse gets a little bigger and you can actually start putting some weight on it. You can stand on this thing and hang on to one of these bars here so you don't fall over. And you can actually put a leg over the horse, and each day you do it. First time you just put the leg over, because sometimes that's enough to set the horse off. But if anything ever goes wrong and the horse scoots out from under you, you're still hanging on to the trailer. You're not going to fall down. Okay. This is a method I've used many times in many horses. I probably will not do it on these ones because they're so small, but I have done this many times, and if you got a horse that's a little bigger, it's a great tool. You can throw a leg over, get them used to that, and then gradually each day put a tiny bit more weight on until eventually you've got almost your entire body weight onto that horse. Now this would apply to ones that are at least a couple, 3, 4 years old. Don't even think about it on a little yearling. I don't want to see anybody sitting on a horse that young. But when a horse gets a little bit older, a little bigger, and can handle your weight, it's a great way to get used to it. And you don't need a saddle or nothing. You just got the lead on it, and because you got one hand for the lead, one hand hanging on, and you're standing on the thing. You swing a leg over, and like I say, each day you do this, you put just a tiny bit more weight on, and till eventually you get to the point where you got your full body weight on. You've done two things at once. You've worked on getting your horse to side up to the mounting block here, using your trailer fender, and you've gotten the horse used to having weight on its back. So you've actually done two things. So don't get in a hurry when you're doing this stuff, because you're doing two different things at once here. And you don't want it to automatically think that when it sides up that somebody's going to go plunk on its back. No, you don't want to be doing that. Get it to side up many times before you even swing a leg over. And the first time you do, don't put any weight on the horse at all. And you might even do that a couple times before you even start putting weight on the horse. And each time you do it, just a tiny bit more. It may take you weeks before you get to the point of putting, well, maybe even months, depending on how much time you got. It could take a while before you get to the point where you can put your full body weight onto the back of the horse. And it's like, whatever, I don't care. It's not a big deal. But it's something you work up to, and this is a great platform to do it. And by platform and media, a way of doing it is a horse trailer, if you got one hanging around. If not, your utility trailer, the tailgate of your pickup truck, lots of things you can do. The side of the round pen, a tall fence, any place where you can stand on something and you got something to hang on to so you don't fall over. Because there's always that possibility that the horse is going to get a little worried and scoot out from under you. And it's going to leave you hanging. You better have something to hang on to, and that's where a horse trailer is a great tool for the job, because you got something to hang on to. This one in particular, I don't know if these windows slide on this one. Probably, most of them do. And if you open it up, and you can grab onto one of these bars, the vertical or the horizontal, it doesn't matter. As long as you got something to hang on to with one hand, that way if the horse gets excited, you're still hanging there. You're not going anywhere. You're not going to fall on the ground. And you still got the horse on the lead on the other hand. All's good. So anyhow, just thought I'd touch on that for now. I am going to work on the mounting block thing. I'm not going to do it on here though. We got the other little piece over there that we're going to use. And I'm going to get a horse. And just briefly, I'm going to talk about the weather, because it's not real nice today. If you'll notice, I got my coat on. It's because it's actually cool. I need it. In fact, I'm almost thinking I should have been wearing my gloves today, because it's about 8 degrees Celsius, which is about 46 degrees Fahrenheit, 30% chance of showers, and on and off it has been raining today. I've never figured out what the percentage means, but anyhow, 30% chance of showers. It has rained a little bit, so it's overcast, it's humid, it's breezy, it's not very warm. So all in all, yeah, you're going to want to wear your coat today out here, but we'll get by. We're going to do it. If we can stand out here in a snowbank, we can certainly stand out here in this stuff. This isn't that bad. And if I have to, while I'm working with the horse, I'm going to put a hood up. I don't do that for the camera because it just looks silly, but, well, maybe it's not so silly. Keeping warm. Is keeping warm silly? Maybe not. Anyhow, well, excuse me. I'm going to go get a horse and play with her for a while. And if I think of something when I come back, because I think there is some things I want to show you in the round pen. We might go over there later too and work on that tarp a little more, because there's another aspect of that tarp that I still want to show you. But I think it's still a little too breezy today to do that, unfortunately. So I don't think I'm going to be able to, but who knows, we'll come up with something. But we got the other one too, and there's things we got to work on with her in the round pen. So we're probably going to have her over there, and I can show you a few things there too, because there's definitely some things we got to do with that one that I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you what we're doing and how we do it, because that's what this is all about. There's things that have gone very well with the one, not so well with the other, and I'm really glad I got both of them to work with now, because chances are a lot better now that I'm going to get to show you something that matters. Well, something that's relevant to you, because every horse is different, and well, yours might be completely different than either of these two as well. So whatever works good with these ones might not work so good with yours, or other way around too. What I'm having trouble with, you might not have any problem with at all. Make me a little jealous, but oh well. Anyhow, I'm going to go play with a horse. See you in a bit. Hey, should you play? Okay, well, I figure I may as well show you something. And I'm going to attempt, and I say attempt because it's still a bit of a breeze today, which may hamper our progress here that we're going to try and make. But we're going to do what we can and show you how this works. And I sure hope it works. We did a couple other things off camera with her that you've seen before. Had her siding up to the mounting block. No surprise, first time wasn't real good, but she very quickly got better. And now she actually stands there pretty good. We also took her for a stroll around the yard, some places she did not like. And when we found places we didn't like, we went a little closer to them. Not too much, because I mean, I don't want her to freak out, get flying around and run into something and hurt herself either, or me. You know, there's always these things you got to take into consideration. It's not a simple cut and dried thing, but that is one of the few things with her that's actually a bit of a challenge, is taking her away from familiar areas. She gets a little worried. She doesn't like strange things. There's a horse-drawn sleigh sitting over there. You may have seen in the background. That bothered her. She didn't like that thing, although she eventually did get close enough to it. She sniffed at it a bit and decided maybe it wasn't going to kill her. But around the chicken coop, there's some plastic around that flaps in the wind a little, and that bothers her. And just a lot of other things, the pump house, and just strange stuff, you know, it's stuff that she's not familiar with, doesn't feel comfortable with, and surprisingly we're having a little trouble with. On the bright side, though, I think she's going to trailer okay, because yeah, I didn't video it. I shouldn't have even gone near the trailer, but I actually opened the back door of the trailer, and I did have her put 2 feet in. That's as far as we went, and I'm going to show you the rest of that process and exactly how we got there too, because that was, I wasn't really planning on that. That is something that I think should have been a little bit off in the future, but oh well, we did it anyhow. Shoot me. So I'm going to see if we can advance on this tarp a little now. I actually just sent her over this a couple times at Liberty. She had the halter on, but I just pointed and sent her, and away she went. Now this time I'm going to actually do it with the lead on, which is kind of cheating in a way. I like being able to send her at Liberty because it kind of proves how well she responds to me and the relationship that we got. If she's willing to trust me over something that's a little worrisome and do what I ask without a lead on, that kind of says something. It says we're doing something right here. Oh, she sure likes her scratches. Okay. Well, we're going to make her go over this again, which is, this is not new. You've seen this before. And she even kicks it with her feet. It's not a big deal anymore, even though the first little bit she didn't want to do this at all. So we're just going to take our tire off and carefully, because it's full of water. It's been raining. And we're going to open this up a little bit more. And hopefully this is going to work. And I moved this over to, okay, I just don't have enough hands here. There. Fortunately, the wind isn't out of hand today. It's only a light breeze. I think this is going to work. It's okay. It's not as skinny as it was. It's a little bit wider. Better chance that she's going to hit it with one of her feet. And she's getting pretty good at this, isn't she? But this is how you work up to things in stages. It's now double the width that it was. But we're not going to stop there. We're going to double it again. And rather than saying exactly how wide it is, we'll just say doubled it, because that is what we're doing. Every time we fold it over, we're doubling it. And this is how you work up to things. Oh, now she's decided it's getting a little too wide. I don't know if I like that. But let's see. Oh, she's a little concerned, but oh, she's trying to go around it, you little cheater. Oh, hang on. I gotta get this a little tighter to the edge of the round pen. She actually stepped on it with one foot, but it's a little further away. There. Make it pretty much impossible for her to go around. She has to go over it. Now, at this point, it's not all that wide. She could actually jump it. Let's see what she does. Is she going to step on it or jump it? She stepped on it perfectly. Absolutely perfectly, without worry. Yeah, she still doesn't like this thing. Oops, stepped in a gopher hole. Or, sorry, ground squirrel hole. Oh, I just noticed a little scratch on her leg there. I wonder where she got that from. I didn't do it. And I've already been playing with her for a little bit. So apparently it was there the whole time. Oh, she's not happy about this. That's okay. There you go. Good girl. Oh, there you go. She's stepping right on it. She's not happy with this thing, though. But she's being obedient. And that in itself is actually an accomplishment. Kind of like my own horse. She hates tarps, but she'll walk across one for you. In fact, I've ridden her across a tarp. Okay, now it's we've doubled it again. And it is basically, well, this isn't a very big one, but it's as big as it goes now. This is a, I don't know what size it is. It's big enough. And it's not as big as it could be. Some horses could still jump this. You might want something a little bigger for doing this, but she's not even inclined to jumping it at this point, so it doesn't really matter. But this is what you're going to do. You're going to start off with it, fold it up really narrow, about that wide. About the size of my hand, you know, kind of thing. Wide. And double it. Get the horse comfortable with that, double it again, get the horse comfortable with that, double it again. And that's what we've been doing. We've doubled it, and then doubled it, and then doubled it. Well, anyhow, I don't know how many. I think it's 3 times we've doubled it, or is it 4? I don't know. And it doesn't matter. It's as big as it gets, and let's see what happens. And this is typical of the principles. Is there we go. Beautiful. Remember, this is a horse that not that long ago, you couldn't get near the freaking tarp walking her. She's still wary of it. She's not real happy about this thing. I'm going to have to do this for a while once I turn the camera off. Yeah, you got to go that way, dear. Good girl. Good girl. There we go. And once she's off it, she doesn't run away from it, which is really good. See if we can go back through it. No. You got to go that way, dear. That way. Yeah. There we go. There we go. So this is how you get. Now I've shown you everything with the tarp. If you use a bigger tarp, exactly the same thing, except you might have to fold it out one more time. Because even if it's twice this width, that's still only going to be one more time. Because it'll be double this, and you double each time you fold out. So you'll only fold out one more time, and then no, I did. But this is basically what you do with the tarp. Now, I may also pick it up and rub on her some more with it. Flap it around. Eventually, I want to take the tarp while it's wide open like that and wrap her right up in it. I actually have a picture of one of my own horses where I've done that. And that's the one that doesn't like tarps. To this day, still doesn't like tarps. But she's obedient enough that she would stand there while I literally wrapped her up like a big silver Christmas present. And that's kind of my goal with this one. I'm not going to bore you with that process, but it's the same thing as I've been showing you all along, how you do things a little bit at a time and gradually increase. And you know, you saw when I was touching her with it, I had it all folded up in a small package, and each time I opened it up a little more, and rubbed it on her, waved it around, things like that. Now we've gotten to the point where she will, in fact, walk on it. And that's important too, because strange footing, that can happen every time you go into an arena, a stable, a barn, even a trailer. All these different places all have different footings. And it's not unusual that at some point the horse is going to be exposed some strange footings. And that's what we're doing right here. It's a strange footing. It's not really about the tarp, not exactly. It's about strange footing and her being willing to walk on it if you ask her to without freaking out. Now, clearly she's still a little reluctant to, I can tell, but not bad. She's actually doing okay on it. She is walking across it calmly, which is what we want. I know she doesn't want to be there. She'd rather not do it, but she's willing to do it. That's a good shot. And we're just going to keep going back and forth until she gets super cool with it and couldn't care less about this thing. And, well, that's kind of the end of the tarp thing. But that doesn't mean the end of desensitizing in total. This one, I don't think we're going to have to do a lot. We did do a little bit when we first started working with her, just because she had such an aversion to ropes. We had to throw the rope over. Oh, look at that. She's still twitching. Why is she still twitching? Guess I've got to do this some more. I didn't think it was a problem anymore, but apparently it still is. So one of many things that desensitizing is throwing the rope over. You don't whip her with it, you just gently throw it over her back so that it doesn't get her upset. And when the horse stops getting a little worried about it, like she's still twitching when I do that. So I'm going to keep doing it until she stops twitching. That's what you got to watch for, is improvement, period. Doesn't matter how much it is or what it is. You know, if the horse goes from all out meltdown to it'll actually tolerate you doing this, that's progress, and you can quit there. In her case, my expectations are a little bit higher because, well, I think we finally got there. Just a tiny little twitch there when it landed on her. Still a little twitch when it lands on her. It's hitting her in a different place each time. That has something to do with it, but she's not twitching as bad. There, no twitch at all that time. I'm going to stop there. Doesn't mean I'm not going to do it again. I'll do it again, guaranteed. The fact that she was twitching this time means I have to do it again. Tells you a fair bit. So we're going to do that. We're going to use the flag, the lunge whip, all sorts of things. And I think I'm going to explain a little more about the purpose of some of these things. Since we're kind of doing that with the tarp, that's part of desensitizing, right? And this is desensitizing. I may as well explain what I'm doing. Start off with that, because she's pretty good. The other horse is going to require a lot of this stuff, and I mean a lot, not just all of it, but I mean a lot. Each one individually a lot more than this one anyhow. Just her personality, it's different. She's more reactive to things. But this thing here, a rope. Now, I've said before, when it comes to desensitizing, it's not about the rope. It's not about the individual items you're using. It's what they are similar to. And I'm going to talk about that because I've already talked a little bit about with the tarp, how it's similar to unusual footing. No matter what it is, whether it's maybe a gravel road is different than the gravel on your sidewalk, and different than the ditch, and different than the barn, and lots of difference. And the horse has to get used to different footing. Now this thing, well, this is my lead rope. It's fairly big, and but what could it be similar to? Well, in the world of horses, well, there's always lead ropes around, ropes of all kinds for different things, and at any given time, one could go flying around and bump the horse, or be near the horse. And you don't want a horse that's going to have a meltdown to that stuff. And it's not about this lead rope. It's about every other piece of rope that gets anywhere near this horse. And maybe the ones that'll accidentally touch its legs. Guess what? She doesn't really care that much. Well, not too much anyhow. Well, she get a little annoyed with it. But we'll work on that some more. But, if you're out doing some roping or ponying another horse and you drop the lead and it hits the horse's leg, you don't want the horse having a meltdown, especially while you're riding. That's why you do this stuff. This is one of many things. I'll give you another couple of examples. Come on, dear. You can come closer. There's no horse-eating monsters over here. There is, however, my lunge whip. Now, she's not near as reactive as that last one, right? Yeah, that little bay. You saw that one. She freaked out over this thing. This one, not so much. But we do the exact same thing with this as we do with our lead, is we throw it over and draw it off. And we throw it over and draw it off. Why do we do this? Why is it so important that we get her used to this string that's on here? Well, let me tell you, I think quite a few of you probably have coats, jackets, whatever you want to call them, some kind of clothing that has drawstrings on it, similar to these ones. Some have more, some have them at the bottom, some have them in the middle. They're a common thing. And you don't want the horse getting upset about drawstrings. Western saddles in particular, I don't think they have them on the English saddles, but they have your tie strings for tying your coat on or your bedding or anything else you want to tie on. There's all kinds of things, but there's usually at least 4 sets, maybe more. I think the one I have has more than that, but there's at least 4 sets of tie strings. And they flap around in the wind and as you're riding and all kinds of stuff, and you don't want your horse having a meltdown over those. So that's why we're doing this stuff. It's not about the lunge whip. It's about everything else that could be similar to this lunge whip. And you don't want the horse having a meltdown every time some little bitty thing is introduced into its life that's going to get it upset. So that's just one of many things that you can do with this. There's one more item we haven't got out here yet too. I take that other little stick I have and I tape a plastic bag onto the end of it. They're actually starting to become less common now because most grocery stores don't supply them anymore. But I'm sure it'll be a long time before we don't have those things floating around. There's so many of them out there, but I'll get to that another day. Okay, then there's my flag. Now, if you happen to be driving by a pole with a flag on it, and it's a windy day. Now, this is no exaggeration. I rode a horse one time for somebody else. I was giving some exercise, and we rode by some flagpoles, and it got upset because of those flags up on the flagpoles waving around in the wind. Another time, went past a window and some curtains. Well, there was no screen on the window, and the curtains inside, the wind happened to be going through and blew the curtains right out the window, and they flapped around. Horse got excited, different horse. And I've seen cases where, even just taking your jacket off if you're out riding and all of a sudden it gets a little too warm, you want to take a layer off, or the other way around, you want to put a layer on because it cools down, and you start swinging that thing around. Is that going to bother your horse? Because if you do that while you're on the horse, if you don't desensitize to this, you better get off the horse before you take your jacket off or put it on. Because even this one here, you look at, if you're paying attention, you saw her ears get a little bit up and forward as this thing was flapping around in the wind. She's a little concerned about it. See? Unless she's looking at something else I don't see. Who knows? That other one did too. There must be something over that direction. I don't know. Something I don't see. But anyhow, so, is this a flag? No, it's not a flag. It's your coat. It's your raincoat. It's curtains. It's a flag on a pole. It's all kinds of things. Maybe it's a banner in the arena. Who knows? It could be just about anything. It's not a flag. But it's still something you need to desensitize to. And that's why I frequently, for no reason, will just wave this thing around. Because the horse gets used to it. And then eventually, I can touch her with it. And I don't know if I can do this. I've never tried it with this one. Yep. She's not crazy about it, but not bad. I've seen some that would have an outright meltdown. In fact, that other one probably would too if I did that. So, this is just an example of some of the things. You got your tarp, we got our lead rope, we got our lunge whip, we got our flag. All tools that can be used for desensitizing so that your horse doesn't become overreactive to them, because in the real world, there are similar things. Not these exact things. Nobody's going to run along beside you when you're riding going, try and get your horse upset. No. But there's a lot of other things out there that might be very similar to this, you know, flappy things. Be it your coat. You know, on a windy day, if it gets warm and you unzip it because you just want to get cooled a little bit, all of a sudden it starts flapping in the breeze. Is your horse going to get upset? Is it going to get upset if you take it off? Is it going to get upset if you put another one on? Is it going to get upset by the flagpoles, all this stuff? Blah, blah, blah. I've already gone through that stuff. There's more. I'm sure there's lots more. And probably even more I haven't mentioned, and there's even more I probably haven't even thought of. But that's what we're doing here. It's not about these items. And like I said, when we were talking about the tarp in the last video, or was it the one before? I don't remember now. Yeah, one person in this one group was saying that, made a ridiculous comment that you don't need to desensitize to a tarp because nobody's going to be running around beside you when you're riding with a big scary blue tarp. No, they aren't, but there's lots of other things similar to that big scary blue tarp that your horse may be exposed to, and it better be prepared. And it's all about safety, because if your horse freaks out when you're not expecting it, there's a good chance you're going to get hurt. And there is a good chance that the horse also may get hurt when it freaks out, if it runs into something and flips over backwards and lands on something and whatever. And this stuff happens. I've seen it happen. I've heard of it happening. You know, I know it happens. And so we want a horse that's not going to have a meltdown every time something goes wrong. It isn't just perfect. Now this one here, we got good bones to work with here. She's actually not horribly overreactive about things. There's a few little things that we have found that do bother her a little bit, but nothing horrible. She's not extremely reactive, not as bad as the other one, but you know, it is a case of this is stuff you want to deal with now. And on the subject of what we're doing now, I want to talk about that too. I was thinking about it earlier today. Very important is all the things that we're doing in our basic training, because that's what I call this. This is just basic groundwork is what we're doing here. But there is not a horse on the planet that can't benefit from it. It is something that every single horse, no matter what its future discipline is going to be, whether it's gymkhana or barrels, reining, hunter jumper, eventing, whatever, every single horse can benefit from what we're doing right now, because it's going to make them more reliable, more calm, and well, that's also going to make them more trainable in the future for future events, for whatever you're, you know, higher education. You know, this is just basic grade school stuff we're doing here. It's kind of how I look at it. That's 8 grades. And then you got high school is, you know, once you start riding the horse, well, I'm not even sure there's 4 grades there. It might only be 2. But you got your high school and then your advanced education, trade schools, universities, whatever. that sort of thing. That's where you get into your specialty stuff. And, well, if you look at it from a human perspective, you can't get into any of those without your grade 12. Hello. Well, there was a day you could, but not anymore. You can't get into university without at least a good, decent grade 12. So we're providing the horse with a basic grade 12. Well, not quite, because we're not going to ride it, but not much. Probably only grade 11 that we skipped. We're not going to go that far. We'll probably do 9 and 10, I think, maybe. I don't know. It depends on how you view things, because the way I do stuff is there's very little to do once you get to the point of riding. Most of what needs to be taught to the horse it already knows. I always say that, I even got asked by another trainer one time, do you ever ride the horses you work with? And I says, yeah, when they're ready, and not a minute sooner. Because every time they saw me, I was on the ground with a horse. And yeah, that was a fact. I was. But the thing is, by the time I get on their back, and I've had this conversation with somebody else too, it's not a new topic, but once they get on their back, there's not much left to teach them. Because I teach them how to be ridden before I ride them. So that by the time I do ride them, I'm not asking the horse anything it doesn't already know. Now there might be a few things, I don't know what, there's a few things that you need to teach the horse from their back that you can't do on the ground very well. But largely, there's nothing on the ground that you can't teach them that applies to being ridden. All the cues, left, right, forward, back, fast, slow, all that stuff, they know that all before I ever get on them. The only thing that's different is I'm asking them from a different place, and even that isn't extreme, because by the time I ride them, they're already used to my weight on their back, they're used to having a saddle on them, and I've stood up on high objects, various ones usually, and had them moving around for me, so they get used to me giving them cues from a different position as well. So, and story time. I want to share a true story. A gentleman who I would consider to be much better than myself, I've learned from, and he's quite the horseman, and he travels the world literally doing clinics and demos and such, and even judging events, and you name it. The guy's got his chops, okay? He can not only train a horse, but yeah, he can do just about anything you want him to do. Anyhow, in his clinics, he has basically 2 different levels of clinics. Excuse me, you're blocking my view. Yeah, stand over there, will you? Yeah, over there. Over there would be nice. Thank you. In his clinics, he has 2 different clinics. He has the lower level clinic, the basics, what we're doing here, the important stuff actually. I'll get to that. And then he's got the advanced clinics, which is his ridden clinics, where people pay substantial amounts of money to ride their horses in his clinics and get advice on different problems they're having in riding. And people pay pretty good money for that sort of thing. And unfortunately, though, there's always at least 1 or more people in those clinics that, well, haven't adequately done the basics. And the problems that they're having with riding, well, goes right back to basics, to groundwork, the things that they didn't do well enough on the ground. And unfortunately, he ends up spending a great deal of time helping those people on the ground, and sadly, neglecting some of the other people that have paid good money to be there as well, all because somebody didn't do their basics. The basics are extremely important. He's made comment about it a number of times, that almost every ridden problem goes back to basics, something on the ground, and that has been my observation as well. Every time somebody has a problem with their horse, when they're riding, it's like, whether it's mounting or behavior when riding or anything at all, it all goes right back to basics. And so the basics, what we're doing, might not seem like high-tech stuff, not real high-level stuff, but it is extremely important stuff. because like I said, there's not a horse on the planet that can't benefit from this stuff. And if this stuff isn't really good, it's going to affect your riding. And if this stuff is super, super good, it's going to make your riding experience much better in the future. There's just no downside to doing this stuff. I mean, you've seen what we're getting here. And this is all real time. You're seeing the real thing. You're seeing what we're doing. You know, I've been showing you exactly what's going on as it's happening. You know, there's no, I'm not editing out 3 hours of work that we're done, except, you know, the only stuff I'm leaving out is stuff I'm telling you about, where I say, hey, we spent, like today, I just spent some time at the mounting block and walking around the yard with her. I told you about that. That's the only stuff that you're not seeing. Anything that we teach her new, you're seeing it. And we're showing you exactly how it's done so that you too can do this stuff with your horse. Now, something else that crossed my mind while I was thinking about this stuff, and I'm going to mention it to you, is a lot of people think, well, hey, you know, my horse is a lot older than that. I'm already riding it. This really doesn't apply to me. Yes, it does. Absolutely everything that we are doing here in basic training, even if you're already riding your horse, you can use this. You can apply it to your horse, and anything with your horse that isn't super, super good, you can make better. And I can guarantee you, it will make your riding experience better. Try it and see. Do this stuff, not half-heartedly though. Do it seriously. Make sure it's super good. And then get on that horse and see if it doesn't make a difference. Because this is stuff that absolutely any horse of any age, any discipline needs to know. And it's going to make your life a whole lot better and safer. Well, everybody that gets around the horse is going to make their life safer. I could tell stories about that too, but I'm not going to. Not this time. I'm going to let you go now and tell you to have a good day and go make use of some of this stuff. Try it. You know, no matter what level your horse is at or how old your horse is, everything that we're doing here, you can use on yours. And you're thinking, well, hey, I've been riding my horse for 3 years. I don't need to go catch my horse. Yes, you do. Make it better. How good is your horse to catch? You know what? You can make it better. And that's one of the first things you have to do. Catch a horse before you do anything else. You got to catch the horse. And I have talked to people that said, oh, he's a hard to catch horse. Always been that way. And I said, well, they don't have to be that way. Well, yeah, you know, you can't fix that. That's the way he is. Well, yeah, you can fix it. And although I not long ago had a disagreement with someone, and they were quite insistent that their horse could not be fixed. Well, I could have proved them wrong, but I wasn't going to argue with them to the point of getting the opportunity to do it. But don't ever think something can't be done with your horse. Absolutely anything can be done with your horse. And well, you just saw what was possible. A horse that wouldn't go near that freaking tarp not long ago. Now she'll walk right over it. Things like that. Now, that's just an example. There's lots of things that we've been doing with this little horse that, you know, your horse can do too. I don't care how old it is or what discipline you have in mind for it. Maybe you want to be a barrel racer. Maybe you want to do gymkhana. Maybe you want to be reining. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Every single horse can benefit. I have seen horses at events that, man, they shouldn't have even been there, and they had trouble getting them into the arena because they were so hyped up and everything else. These are poorly trained horses, horses that could have benefited from this stuff, the exact stuff that we're doing here. Those horses would have gone in there, they would still have the same athletic ability and probably more obedience. They would have been less stressed, so they would have been more focused on what they were doing. They probably would have done a better job. A lot of people think, oh, I don't want a well-trained mellow horse. I want one that's jacked up, ready to go. No. You do want a mellow horse because it's actually a proven fact that a horse that is not highly stressed by a situation burns less oxygen, therefore has more energy available for its muscles and can actually run better, steer better, whatever it's doing. You know, it's a fact that a well-trained horse has more at its disposal than one that's half-trained. So this jacked up half-trained horse that you think is a great horse for whatever event it is you're doing, no, it's not. It's actually wasting calories through its nervous energy that it's dissipating by being all concerned about the situation, and you can help it with that. You can make your horse a better horse by just doing the basics. That's all you got to do. Basics. Real simple stuff. And every single horse on the planet can benefit from it. I don't care how long you've been riding it. I don't care how old it is, how young it is. You can help your horse. And I want you to do that. So take some of this information and go apply it. Take it to your horse. Because even though these horses I'm working with right now are way younger than yours, and you're thinking, this doesn't apply to me, yes it does. It absolutely applies to you, and you can help your horse. So take this information, go help your horse, and have a great day. See you on the next one. Bye now.